Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in Denver, Colorado. And this is my buddy Puccini, who helps me in the craft room, keeps me company and generally creates havoc. In fact, he just knocked over all kinds of stuff. And I'm sorry I missed the Friday video this last week. Live overtook and made it impossible for me to have the time to do that, so I apologize. But I'm here today with a very fun, fast, and easy Christmas card. And I am using the material from it's called Brightest Glow. So I'm using some of the stamp sets from it, and then I am using some of the paper from let me get it out here, Lights Aglow 6x6 paper pack. And so just to use different ones in the paper pack so that you get maximum value when you purchase this paper, I'm showing yet another card that's easy to do and kind of fun, has a nice impact, I think. So let's just get started. Okay, here is my card, and I'm using again papers from the Lights Aglow paper pack, which is a lot of these papers, and I've done some others using some of the other papers in this paper pack. And this one I decided to use the stars. Now on this one I am using the distressed gold paper, and I know as I was looking at the website for Stampin' Up! That this paper is currently not orderable. So what I couldn't tell you is it'll be back in stock at some point, and right now I don't remember what it is, but I'll put it up on the video for you to give you an idea of when it's coming back and to be available. And in the meanwhile, I thought that this card could be done using the gold foil along with this paper, and I think it would be just as pretty. And in fact, it would be brighter and shinier. So that is what the card is, and that's how you could do this today. And this is one that could be done in production and be done really quickly. So, and this is the inside, wishing you a season of hope and light. So I'm using the stamp sets from Brightest Glow, Merry Christmas, and wishing you a season of hope and light. So that's what I'm using. And then I'm using this beautiful paper, and I'm using this paper. And I'm doing mine with distressed gold, but again, it can be done with foil. But I've already got all of my pieces cut, so I'm going to go forward with this way of doing it and know that you can adapt it that way. So my card base is very vanilla, and this card base is standard A2, 8.5 by 5.5, scored and folded at 4 1/4. Then I have two pieces of black, and one of them is just ever so slightly larger than the other, and this piece is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8, so it leaves just the tiniest border around the card itself. And then the piece that goes on the inside of this, I cut just slightly different than I might ordinarily. This is cut 4 inches, but instead of by 5 1/4, it's by 5 1/8. Because the one thing I didn't like about this, the only thing I'm changing, is that when I looked at the inside of this, I really liked the larger black border around there. So I cut this back by 1/8. So this is cut 5 1/8 instead of 5 1/4. And when that one goes on this black mat, what it's going to end up doing is giving us a little bit more black on either side. And I think that's going to look a little bit better. Okay, so 4 1/8 by 5 3/4, and then this one is 4 inches by 5 1/8. Then for the inside, my black piece is 4 by 5 1/4, and my vanilla piece is 3 3/4 by 5, very standard. Now then, The other thing that you need, your gold strips, whether it's this gold or the gold foil. These strips are 1 1/4 inches by 4 inches, so that they will sit and go all the way across the card. And I have 5 of them. 3, and you could change this back and forth and put the black behind and the gold on top, your choice. I'm going to make this one exactly this way. So then I've got 2 pieces that are 1 inch by 3 3/4 out of the DSP, 2 in the black and 3 in the very vanilla with the cream. And then we're using, the ribbon that I'm using is our shimmer gold ribbon, and I'm using real red ink and some of our red rhinestones. And that's everything I'm using, and you can see it's pretty much an assembly card. The paper is doing most of the heavy lifting for us. So let's just move along here. The first thing I'm going to do is adhere all of my small pieces together. So I know that I need 2 of the black pieces, and so I'm going to center those. Let me make sure that that's right at the bottom. Center those pieces on the gold, and there's 1, and I'm going to do a second one, and then I'll just go through and do all of the pieces. Okay, there are all of my pieces glued together, and now we can adhere our pieces for the card itself. This is the inside. So I'm going to put this very vanilla piece on my, this is a 3 3/4 by 5, going on my 4 by 5 1/4. Because this is such high contrast, you can really see if it's straight. Okay. Now this piece of black, which is the larger one, this is 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. This piece of black is going to go on our card front, and it's going to have just the tiniest border all the way around. And then this piece is the one that is 4 inches by 5 1/8, and that's going to center on this piece and have a little bit wider margin side to side than top to bottom. I think that'll frame our pieces real easily. All right, now these pieces, these 3 pieces, go down flat on the card like this. Then these pieces I raised up on dimensionals, and you do need 1 additional piece of very vanilla for our sentiment, and I'll show you that in just a minute. So what I do for this is I add my adhesive to the back of my strip, and I give myself, a little bit of a border, and go all the way to the top of the very vanilla piece and down to the bottom, and make sure that my margin is straight on this side. Then I put the one on the opposite side, and that way my spacing will be perfect regardless of what size anything is. So if I set this up to go here with that same kind of margin, go all the way to the top of the very vanilla and down to the bottom, and there we've got that piece put in place. Now all I have to do to make this work and have perfect spacing is to set this one in the middle of these 2 pieces. So this one is going to go here, right up against that top edge, and eyeballing it, that looks like that is just right down the middle. And there we go. Our 3 pieces are on. Now, these 2 pieces are going to be put up on dimensionals. All right, there's my pieces all ready to go. And what I'm going to do is center this between those 2 pieces, go all the way up to the top, and come straight down to the bottom edge of the Very Vanilla. And so that's raised a little. And then I'm going to do the same thing with this one. Get that about where it's going to be centered. And put that in place. Like that. And there we've got our pieces all ready to go, and the card front basically done. Now we need to do some stamping. And what I've done is I set up my Merry Christmas on my Stamparatus, and I need a piece of Very Vanilla here, and this piece will do nicely. And what I did was I set this up so it was right along this edge line on this side, and put my magnet way up here at the top. And then I used, I'm going to put another stamp set underneath here, and I used my Real Red. And I just re-inked this, so I think it should be good with the first go. And I set my Merry Christmas right there. And there it is, nice and bright and red. This one I stamped twice and almost looks like cherry cobbler. So I decided to just ink it up really good and do it one time. There we go. So now I'm going to go off camera, and I'm going to trim this down, and the trimming down ends up making this piece roughly 3 inches by 1 1/4. So that's what I'm going to try and get. So I'm going to put the same margin on this side so I get it at 3 inches. Well, here, I'll just do it while we're on camera. I guess I don't have to go off camera to do that. So if I set this up this way and I set it at 3 inches, I'll just slice that part down. There we go. And then I'm going to put the top of this on so I have a little margin above the Mary, and then come down here and do this at, if I put it at 1 1/4, it's going to be awfully close on the bottom. I gave myself a little more margin than I did on the other one. So I'm going to move this over like 1/8. So there. And I think that looks nice and balanced. And that's basically how I do those. Figure out what's the right, just basic measurement, and then get it put in place. All right. So now on this one, that's that stamp, and then I have my Real Red here, and I have my other stamp, which is the Wishing You a Season of Hope and Light, and I'm going to put that right here in the corner, and I'm doing that on purpose for my card class coming up so that they don't have to worry about straight. Okay, there we go. And that is all of the stamping. Then we have our pretty gold ribbon, and I need a piece to go across this part of my card. So I'm just going to cut a length. This ends up being, oh, this one is more than you need, but almost 7 inches. Okay, and so what I'm going to do is take this and add some dot runner on the back of this ribbon. And tape actually sticks to this ribbon. It's kind of fun. So right across here at the bottom, up about maybe a little more than 1/4 of an inch, and put that across, and then anchor that on the back of my card, and that's all ready to go on the inside. So I'll add my adhesive to this and put this inside my card, centered here, top to bottom and side to side. And there we've got the nice inside of the card done. Now, this piece. All right, on this, what I'm going to do is use a piece of these bones across one of these dimensional packages. And this length is going to come right over here. I'm going to move this over to this side and up just a little bit. So this piece needs to have a piece of dimensional on it here that is going to lift it up. Then by putting it here, I can see exactly where I need to add my adhesive. I need to add my adhesive there and right along this edge. Then when I go to put this in place, it's going to fit just perfectly. So there we go. We've got our Merry Christmas on there. And then I'm going to take my red rhinestones. Let's see. It always works better if I use the pick tool. Here to pick up the rhinestones, I'm going to put one on that side, and I'm going to scatter around, 5 of them, I think. Maybe one right there. Now then, on this, I need to make a small bow. There, I've got my bow. And I'm going to trim off those edges. There we go. And I'm going to place my bow right along here. And I'm going to use glue dots to do that. So I'm going to take my first glue dot here and put it right down on this corner of the paper and get my bow set in place, and then depending on how much it moves, I'll add another glue dot sort of underneath here, spanning the bow and the ribbon that comes down from it. And then one on this side that does the same thing. Put it in place so it'll capture the bow and maybe the ribbon. And there we go. That is my project for the day. Simple, easy, fast, and yet really pretty, I think. Not necessarily the traditional colors with the black, but adding the red and gold, I think, makes it pretty traditional. So that is my project for the day. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, well, I'd love to be your demonstrator. Or you could join my team. Stampin' Up! Has a special offer this month from October 1st to the 31st, where you can join Stampin' Up! And instead of the normal $125 worth of product for $99, they're offering $155 worth of product for $99. Your choice. You pick everything that goes into the $155. If you'd like to talk about it, my name and number are always on the bottom of the video, and I'd love to chat with you about it. Now, my prize draw for the month is a $60 shopping spree on me. You put yourself in the drawing by placing an order of any size on my store, lbedinger.stampinup.net, or you can get to it through my blog, www.ingenuity.com. So that's it for me. I will have kits up this week. I will have 5 kits up on my blog at ingenuity.com, and under Shop with Me is a section that's called Kits to Go. And if you click on that, you'll see the 5 kits that are up. And then I've also started buying clubs. When you join 6 other people in your exclusive club, and everybody makes a minimum purchase every month for 6 months. And the purchase amounts are $50, $75, and $100. I chose those particularly because some people order smaller amounts, so the 50 would be good. And 75 and 100 gets you not only the Stampin Rewards when it's your month to be the hostess, but it also gets you 1 product at half price. And it's explained on the website. Go check it out. And as soon as I have 6 people signed up for a club, it'll start. So check it out. If you're buying now on a routine basis and never get Stampin Rewards, this is an opportunity for you once during that 6 months to get the Stampin Rewards for the whole group. So it is order kind of like you're ordering now and get more free stuff. So that's it for me. I will be back soon with more cards, more projects, and more tips. Bye.